I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass. You won't do shit. Just stick and move. Waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my homeboy, Sam. And today, our top three is most overhyped boxers in boxing history. So, Sam, punch me in the face. Who is your number three guy and why?
Okay, guys, look, I know there's a whole bunch of overhyped boxers. I'm just going to go on the top of my head, and I got three on my mind that I can bring up right now. My number three overhyped boxer, and it probably disappoints some people, but I have to say it. My number three overhyped boxer was Julio Chavez Jr. That dude was a complete hype job. He rose to fame because of his father's name, but that guy, never did anything. He never beat anybody that was really good. He quit on the stool, I think at least 2 or 3 times. I don't know what happened. But the guy was a complete hype job. I can't believe he got the Canelo fight, and for me, he was just a really, really hype fighter. I think everybody knew it. I think everybody knew that he was nowhere near his dad. And he's my number three most hype boxer ever, is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Now, we did one of our early episodes was most overrated. It's actually one of our most popular episodes. So I want to differentiate because to me, overrated is a boxer that had some accomplishments, but wasn't really, when it came to coming to the show, he wasn't really all that, you know what I mean? Or to that effect. So overhyped is where he had magnetism. He had, people gawking at the guy just due to their physical appearance or who they were, kind of like what you were saying, Cesar Chavez Jr. And I got to agree with you, man. I do not have him on my list. I have him written down right here if you see my notes. But one thing I will say about Cesar Chavez Jr., bro, is that there was a time where I thought I liked him more than Canelo, okay? Maybe because he was Chavez's son. But the one thing that I loved about him, bro, dude, he had an iron chin, brother. You know what I'm saying? He took a lot of hellacious punches over and over and over. And if you remember, Canelo, he was at 154, and he was going to fight Triple G at 160. Well, he decided, you know what? I want a tune-up fight. So I'm going to meet Julio Cesar Chavez, because Chavez was fighting at 168, if I'm not mistaken. He goes, I'll fight you at a catch weight at 164. So I'll go up 10 pounds just so I can feel the power of somebody heavier than 160. He's like, if I could take a punch from a guy at 168, I could take a punch from a guy at 160. And dude, when he fought Cesar Chavez, bro, I don't even remember what the numbers were, but the jab to jab ratio of Canelo going up 10 pounds to fight this guy, you would have thought it would have been a little bit more competitive. Dude, Julio Cesar Chavez did not even, it seemed like he didn't even join the fight. He got like punch drunk. He couldn't even throw a jab. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember seeing the fight, man. It was me. I was just surprised he even got the fight. I knew it was his trash talking, and I guess him criticizing Canelo, telling him that, I'm the real Mexican, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And that's what got Canelo to sign and fight him. So go ahead.
That was the first time in a long time I've seen a boxer not sit down in between rounds. When Canelo was just standing in between, like he was sparring or something, kind of like what he did to Charlo. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So who's your number three?
All right. So my number three is actually, hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. Actually, Ricky Hatton, bro.
All right.
Yeah. So Ricky Hatton, man, I mean, look, he was this European boxer, and I will admit to myself, when I hear European boxers, especially back in the 2000s, it was such a downtime. I mean, they had Calzaghe and stuff like that, but I just didn't see it, man. When he would fight, I just did not see it. Like, okay, he beat an aged out Castillo, he beat a Yorango, he beat Golazo, but when he fought the big names, when it was time to fight the big names, he was just nowhere to be shown. He has one of the most iconic knockouts from Manny Pacquiao that we've talked about recently. When Mickey Hatton is always talked about, and here's the cool thing: his audience followed him to every single fight, and that is something I respected. But I was thinking like, man, who is this Mickey Hatton guy when he first came onto the scene? And I was never impressed on his fights at all. The fighters that he was fighting in Europe were so low tier that by the time he was building up his resume, it just, if you ever look at his resume, it's nothing impressive at all. And the fights that were meaningful, he did literally nothing. I mean, I know he got that one good punch on Mayweather, but Mayweather would end up knocking him down. I mean, knocking him out. And of course, we know the iconic one by Pacquiao. But bro, for you to get knocked out by Floyd Mayweather, that's pretty hard to do. Mayweather was not a knockout artist. If I'm not mistaken, Mayweather hadn't knocked out a guy in years after Mickey Hatton. You know what I'm saying? I know he had the cheap shot on Ortiz, but you know, I mean, when it came to the big fights, he just wasn't it for me. So that's why I have Mickey Hatton in number 3. Ricky Hatton, sorry. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy lost, you know, all his major fights. You know what I mean? I mean, the guy got KO'd. He had a dumb, you know, game plan when he fought like Mayweather and Pacquiao, just fighting major champions. He was easy. He was an easy target. He was a hype job that was developed, you know, by you know, just the media, you know, and there was nothing impressive about that guy, power, speed, or anything like that. You know, there was nothing impressive. And yeah, he was a total hype job, man. I agree with you, number 3.
Not only that, but like you were saying, like his style, it was nothing. That's why I was saying, like, I was expecting some guy with power, some speed, some foot movement, and he was just like this stationary boxer. Like there was nothing special about his style at all. I don't know. Maybe people saw something that I didn't. I mean, I know he fought all 12 rounds whenever he had whenever he was into the fight, but when it came to the show, man, he just never showed up for me. And so I have on my number 3. All right. So what is your number 2?
My number 2, and I remember hearing all this hype about him, bro. All this hype. Like I tuned in. Like, who is this guy? You know, his name was Jeff Lacy. Jeff Lacy. They were comparing him to Mike Tyson.
Right.
They were saying he's gonna take over boxing. He's gonna take over the division. This guy's gonna be a monster. There's nobody that's gonna, you know. I mean, they were hyping him, bro, like he was literally the new Mike Tyson of boxing. And I mean, at least I tuned in. I know many people tuned in, and bro, I think it was Calzaghe that he fought against,
right?
And dude,
schooling,
he never schooling, man. He never came back from that.
No,
I think he was a major hype job. All he had was a power punch. When he couldn't land it, he had nothing else. Jeff Lacy, he's my number 2, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I remember watching him too. I remember that hype as well because he had this insane athletic speed. I'll give him that. But bro, he had like such a glass chin, man. Like he would get tapped and it was just like, what is happening? He had like no answer to any counter puncher that he ever fought when it came to Jeff Lacy. So I'm cool with him being your number two, bro. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And how about you? What's your number two?
So my number two is Nikolai Valuev. You remember that guy, the 7 foot tall, heavyweight, big bald headed, monster looking guy?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so. I
Dude,
think so.
this guy, he was a champ, by the way, and he was a champ. He was a 7 foot tall, big behemoth, something out of the book of the Odyssey, bro. And huge monster. But dude, when he fought, it was just simply size. Like nobody had control over. It was kind of like Tyson Fury when he fights smaller fighters. He'll just lean on them, and he had that great punch, though, that great jab. That if you get hit by a guy that weighs over 300 pounds and is 7 feet tall, solid, anybody's gonna go down. But bro, his notable wins, if I'm not mistaken, was against Reese and Holyfield, like when they were already like way too old, bro. Like it was just a money grab. Holyfield probably paying off some last debts that he had to do because this guy, he was pulling in pretty decent audience. So Evander Holyfield, Reese, they were like, hey man, this guy is the next guy. And I'll admit, Valuev beat them, but dude, they were like ancient years old already. David Hay, after he fought David Hay, when David Hay
Oh, I remember that guy.
yeah, dude, and you could say he might be your number one because there's plenty of people that said David Hay is overrated. He was just done after that, bro. He couldn't fight anymore, So when I think of Nikolai Valuev, man, it was seeing the circus sideshow in the ring. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that guy. And
Yeah.
I never took him seriously either. I knew that the only advantage he had was his size. That was
he was
it.
a Russian giant. He was a Russian giant. I actually think that was his nickname. So that guy was my number two. All right. So drum roll, please. What is your number one and why?
My number one is one of the biggest, most popular hype jobs in boxing history, bro. Well, at least in my history of boxing, is Prince Nasim Hamed.
Very good.
I mean
good.
Nasim Hamed, bro, was a complete hype job, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That guy had a circus act style of boxing. He was pretty much trying to redefine a boxing style that carried him for so long against low level opponents. Until he met Bara. That's when he faced a real boxer. And you know what, man? Y'all can say what y'all want. Anybody out there can say what y'all want, but there's something that I feel about him and that Kevin Kelly fight. For some strange reason, and maybe there's somebody out there that agrees with me. For some strange reason, when I saw that fight between Kevin Kelly and Prince Nasim Hamed, that looked like a rigged fight to me.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I remember.
There was some punches. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I remember Showtime was hyping up Kevin Kelly. Like he was the next big thing. And Prince just took that away from him, kind of, and derailing him. Go ahead.
I still recall it, man. I still remember it. And Kevin Kelly was caught with a short punch that, for me, at least in my eyes, did not look hard, did not look devastating, and had Kevin Kelly rolling on the ground. There was just something off about that fight, and I never believed in Hamed. I never did. And for me, I knew it from day one The only person falling for Hamed was George Foreman. George Foreman loved him.
I remember that. Him and
Yeah.
his carpet rides. I remember that.
Yeah, George Foreman loved him. But me,
Yeah.
I knew the guy was all hype. I think he
Right.
is probably one of, if you can Google it, he might be one of the most hyped job boxers ever that's ever been in the ring, in my opinion.
You know, Barrera, speaking of that fight, Barrera was like on a mission because he just lost to Muhammad. I'm sorry. He just lost to Morales. He lost to Junior Jones twice, and people were starting to like put him on the lower end tier of great Mexican boxers because he simply couldn't win. And I think when he fought Prince Hasim, I think that he was taking out that frustration because, bro, that is one of those fights that not only was it a 12-0 kind of fight, but it felt personal. Not because Prince was a rival, but he was trying to restake his claim. Like, look, I'm taking on this undefeated guy that everybody loves, that everybody wants to see do well, and I'm going to end him. And that's exactly what Barrera did to Prince Nasim. So I can see why he's your number one. Go ahead. You're going to say
yes.
something.
Barrera went into that fight on a mission, like you
Exactly.
say. He was on a mission. He was pissed. He was angry, and he wanted to cement himself as one of the greatest Mexican boxers out there, still in at that time. And yeah, he tore him up, bro. He made him look stupid. He exposed him. He exposed him. He exposed him to the public. The world saw that it's true. This dude is nothing but hype, man. So who's your number one?
My number one, bro, it's going to be controversial, but that's what I like to do. But I believe in it, though. So my number one is actually Deontay Wilder, bro.
Okay? Oh, yeah.
Now, look, bro. I mean, look. He was a champion. I'll give him that. I never liked his style, and that's what confused me about this hype about him, bro. People loved his style. People loved, that he was this one-punch knockout artist, which he was. I'm not going to say he wasn't. But, bro, I mean, if you look at his fights before Ortiz and before Tyson Fury, I don't think he fought a top 50 or 75 or top 100 heavyweight contender, bro. He was just knocking out scrubs by these, literally what you and I talk about, what you criticize Tyson on, that he was beating, that Tyson was a bum basher, and he was for sure, right? Deontay Wilder was the modern equivalent of that. He was a bum basher, and he didn't get lucky. If he didn't get lucky with that knockout on Ortiz, the first fight coming late in that fight, because Ortiz was dominating that
yeah,
fight.
he was. Yeah, Ortiz was outboxing him. Yeah.
Totally, dude. And then, he would win the second fight, but I think Ortiz was done after that. Bro, he has like nothing on his resume. What also put him on the map, if you remember, was him beating that YouTube bully guy up, that little white kid, the one that weighs like 150 pounds.
Charlie something.
Yes, Charlie something. And he just beats the hell out of him. That actually put him on the map, made people love him because they didn't like the villain and the Charlie kid. And dude, Deontay Wilder, for me, bro, it's just like, I did not understand the hype, how people loved his style. I just didn't get it because to me, it just looked reckless. It looked like an amateur in the ring. And to me, honestly, as a boxing fan lover, comes from a family of boxing aficionados, it made boxing look bad. And the reason why I say that is because if a guy with that wild of a offense, with no defense and a weak chin, like you and I have talked about, is the heavyweight champ and the face of boxing, then boxing is definitely on the decline. I did not like the fact that Deontay Wilder was the face of boxing. And I'm very grateful Tyson Fury, despite his fight with Ngannou, took care of that business. You know what I'm saying? Because you can believe Tyson Fury being the face of boxing. I'm okay with that, not after this past week fight. But Deontay Wilder, I just did not understand the hype, how so many people loved him. So your thoughts on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I thought it was ridiculous when there was people already saying. I remember seeing it on other YouTube channels that were saying he's the greatest heavyweight ever. And that was just, for me, that was just like, man, you got to be kidding me. You know, well, he has, 40 knockouts or whatever his record was at the time. And they were saying he was the hardest puncher ever in heavyweight history. There's no way this man would beat a prime George Foreman or even a Mike Tyson or even Ali or anybody. The guy had no chin. He was exposed. He was exposed just like Hamed was. Yeah, that I agree 100%. For me, that's a good number one, man. Complete hype.
And I would say this too. I like how you said that. He is the heavyweight version of Prince Hamed, because after his loss to Tyson Fury, where has he been? He's been spending the last 2 years calling other boxers out, or at the very least being mentioned like, oh, he needs a comeback fight. Why? Why do we need to see him again, man? I mean, I get it. He has an audience, but man, it's just such a sore eye when it comes to, I just can't watch him. It's like watching a street fighter who doesn't know how to fight in a street fight, except he's getting paid millions of dollars to do it in a boxing ring. I hated it, and he had no endurance. He did not take it seriously, in my opinion. So that's why I have him my number one. Now, let me ask you this. Anybody you left out?
Yeah, I think I hate to say it. But Jorge Paez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Jorge, I think the guy, he put on a show, and that's why everybody went to go see him. The guy would. There was also another heavyweight I remember they gave a lot of hype to. His name was Michael Grant. And everybody was talking about him. He was the future of the heavyweight division. And I think it was Lennox Lewis that smoked him in a few rounds. And I remember it was Michael Grant. I remember the whole family got together, bro.
Right.
My dad, everybody. Yeah, I remember we all got together. It's going to be Lennox Lewis versus Michael Grant. Michael Grant is the future, brother. He's the future. And I was telling my dad, and my dad was like, okay, let's see. And then Lennox Lewis comes in and fucking smokes him, bro. You know what I mean? and it was a short night, man. But those are my two. I mean, there's more, but those right on top of my head, those are my two right there.
For me, I also had Chavez Jr., but the other one that I was contemplating, I was actually battling, was Amir Khan, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? And the reason why I took him out and had Ricky Hatton instead is because Amir Khan had great speed, bro. I could see it.
He was a good boxer.
When I saw him fight, I was like, yeah, that's what a boxer looks like. That is, if he had a decent chin, who knows? He messed up Barrera. You know what I'm saying? We just talked about him. And it was this new, young, good-looking boxer. He had the speed. He had the combinations. And like you said, he knew how to fight. Some people say he was beating Canelo, but if you've seen Canelo's fights, he'll sacrifice rounds to lay the hammer. And he's part of the most iconic, to me, top 5 iconic knockouts in boxing history. When Canelo just cleaned him out with that hellacious cross that he did. But that is my two guys, Amir Khan and Chavez Jr. Do you have any final words for our audience out there?
Thank you guys for commenting and liking our videos. Share so we can, have a bigger audience, make more content. And if there's anything y'all want us to talk about, share it with us in the comment section and we'll do an episode.
Exactly. By the way, my handle is like on the screen, Trey at the Stick and Move Podcast. If you see my name, if you see the Stick and Move Podcast, that is me responding to your comment. I try to get to as many comments as possible. And if you get from Stick and Move Sam, that is obviously my boy here. And we'll leave it at that until next week. Always new episodes every Monday and Wednesday, guys. So make sure you subscribe. And like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am